All right, welcome everyone to the How to Cash Flow Christmas workshop. So, I figured this is going to be a great workshop for really anybody who is entering into this holiday season and trying to do it as financially responsible as possible, is trying to mitigate any kind of money stress that arises during the holidays, and just a way to figure out how to plan better for next year as well. Cash flowing Christmas is is really, it's not that difficult. When you look at it from the perspective of holidays are really just about family. We all know that. We all know that going into the holidays, we just want to gather with our family and friends. We want to have fun. We want to laugh. We want to just enjoy each other's company. And oftentimes, we can kind of forget that sentiment when it comes to the gift buying aspect of the holidays. And we get so focused on wanting to show our love for our family and friends in a monetary way by purchasing gifts. And believe me, there's nothing wrong with that. I am an avid gift giver. I love giving gifts to people, especially when I know that I've put a lot of thought into the gift that I am giving, and I know that it's something that they will really enjoy, and that will add value to their life. And so, oftentimes, I especially in the past is I've kind of had this no holds bar mentality when it comes to Christmas, and I have in the past gone into debt during Christmas. And really, the thing that kind of shifted mine and my husband's mentality around it, and this is going to be for the law enforcement families, are going to probably find more of a relation to this, but some other families might as well, depending on whether or not there is a holiday bonus that comes to you during the December's through your job. But my husband's department, generally, the first paycheck in December, they get what's called their uniform bonus. So, this uniform bonus is essentially meant for them to utilize to, upgrade their uniform, whether they need to get new pants, new tops, new class A's, anything like that. Duty belts, boots, all of that. So that this uniform bonus is to for the next year is to help them upgrade their uniform. Now, I believe that it's strategically given in December for a reason, because it's, for many of us, it's viewed as a holiday bonus. And in the past, my husband and I have had that mentality of utilizing that bonus specifically for Christmas because it comes at the beginning of December. It's the perfect time to help us cash flow our Christmas. Now, one year we got into a little bit of a snafu because we did just that. We got the bonus, we used it for Christmas, no problem, right? Until we get to March of the following year, and we realized that year, and we knew at the time when we got the bonus that this was coming. So it's not like we were blindsided by it. We just didn't plan accordingly. So essentially, what happened is that next year, all of the deputies within my husband's department had until March to switch over to this new uniform. Okay. With the idea that, deputies are going to use their uniform bonus to upgrade their new uniform to the new standard. And we didn't do that. And so come March, we were scrambling, trying to come up with the money. And for you law enforcement families, you know just how pricey it can be to upgrade an entire uniform. And so we put ourselves in a pinch, and we were scrambling to make sure that we had enough money, so we didn't have to go into debt to upgrade my husband's uniform. So, needless to say, from that experience, we learned that we had to have a better plan in place for the holidays moving forward. So, what causes money stress during the holidays? Oftentimes, well, I mean, we know that stress is just a normal condition of the holiday season. It's usually fast paced. We're trying to get from here and there. We're juggling our spouses' schedules and trying to figure out, where we're going for Thanksgiving and where we're going for Christmas and who we're visiting, who we're buying gifts for, and all of this. And there's a lot of stress that comes along with it, along with all the fun and the laughter and the light. One thing that I've noticed is that money stress plays a big role in the stressors that we feel during the holidays, but we don't recognize that it's a stressor, and it's actually a stressor that kind of trickles down and triggers all of these other little stressors in our life during the holidays. And so I think it's important to recognize from a monetary standpoint where some of this stress comes from. And so I've kind of sectioned it off into the who, the what, and the why. So for who, oftentimes we don't start the holiday season off with a clear idea of who we're buying gifts for. If we don't have a pre-planned list for who we're buying gifts for, it can end up feeling like a free for all, which then snowballs, pardon the pun, snowballs and causes this feeling of chaos and confusion while we're out shopping. So just think about this. When you're out and about Christmas shopping, how many times do you look and you see the perfect gift for your coworker or your cousin or somebody that you weren't really planning on buying a gift for, but you just can't pass up this present? So there is nothing wrong with being generous with gift giving, especially when there's heart and there's meaning behind the gift that you're giving. But when we don't have that clear plan from the get go of who we're buying gifts for, it makes it really easy for us to create the slippery slope and end up buying for more people than we originally intended to. Because think about it, if you buy a present for that coworker or you buy a present for that cousin, sometimes when we do that, we think, okay, well, now if I'm buying a present for this coworker or this cousin or this friend, then I really need to buy a present for all of these other coworkers or my other cousins or my other friends, because otherwise I don't want them to feel left out or feel like I don't care about them on the holidays. And so it tends to snowball for us. So that's why it's important to be very clear about who we are going to buy presents for before the holiday seasons even arise. So we tackled the who, and then we got to get into the what. So we have a who list together, but then we also need to be specific about what we're buying, right? And because it's again, it can still be a free for all, even if we have our list down of who we're buying presents for this year and we know we're not going to go outside that list. We have to be intentional about what we are going to be buying as gifts and give ourselves a limit of how much money we're going to spend on each person. Additionally, we can also forget about those non-gift situations that arise during the holidays. Things like travel, additional food for the parties that you're attending or parties that you are hosting at your house, decor, because every year we like to update our decor. You know, Target and Hobby Lobby come out with all of the new cute Christmas decorations that we just have to get our hands on. It's okay to set money aside for these different things, but it's just like having your list for the who. We also need to have our list for the what. And the what doesn't just include what gifts we are buying for each person who's on our list, but it also includes what are we purchasing or what is our budget for things like travel, food, decor, etc. And then to dig even a little deeper, we have the who and we have the what, but let's think about the why. Not everyone in our lives needs to receive a gift from us. That's just the truth. We talked about that a little bit, my little story when we talked about who we're buying gifts for. It's important to be intentional in this because that's where the most effective gifts are created. Think about the number of items that you've received during past holidays that really just don't add value to your life, right? They were given and you appreciate the gift that was given to you because that means somebody thought of you to give to you that gift. But it was really just something that ended up at the bottom of a drawer. Maybe you regifted it later or you just had no use for it. The sentiment was there, but the functionality of the gift wasn't. So I want you to think about that in terms of the gifts that you yourself are giving as well. And think about, are you just buying a gift for somebody just to buy a gift? Or are you buying a gift with intention behind it and a clear why and some thought and emotion and heartfelt memories behind why you are giving that gift? So, do we need to participate in every Secret Santa that comes our way? No. Are Secret Santas fun? Yes. Are white elephants fun? Absolutely. They are so much fun. But again, we don't need to participate in all of these, just like we don't need to give every single person in our life a gift. All right. There are other things that we can do that still show that we are thinking about somebody that doesn't require you to spend money. So as I was thinking about, these money stressors, I decided to come up with my smart holiday spending plan. So this has 5 different aspects to it, and it all makes up the acronym SMART. So the first one is going to be save, right? Okay, so save. Obviously, that's a very good start to the whole smart holiday spending plan. So you want to determine how much you want to spend and then calculate how much you'll need to save over the coming weeks. Okay, we're just reaching Thanksgiving right now. Depending on how often you get a paycheck, you might, if you get paid monthly, you're only going to have one paycheck between now and Christmas time. If you get paid weekly, you're going to have, I think, 5 or 6. And then if you get paid, twice a month or bi-weekly, you're going to have 2 to 3 paychecks left. So one thing that I ask my clients to do whenever we're doing something like this, that's something big that we're saving up for, is I want you to take a look at what you spent last year. Take a look at what you spent, not only what you spent out of your bank account, but what you charged to credit cards as well. And just total up that amount and make sure you're including travel, any decor that you've bought, um, any food, extra food that you had to buy for different parties or events that you hosted or went to. Make sure you total all of that up and decide if the amount that you spent last year between what you spent out of your bank account and what you charged to credit cards is an amount that you are comfortable spending on the holiday season. And if it's not, then think about how much are you willing to dial it back this year? Or maybe sometimes there's some of us who say, hey, I really didn't spend as much as I thought last year. Maybe I can up it a little bit. So that part is totally up to you, but I want you to be mindful, okay? Because the idea is to try and cash flow our holiday season and not have to put anything onto credit cards. And so think about what is that amount that you can be comfortable with, that you can start setting aside a certain amount each paycheck up until Christmas, so that way you can cash flow Christmas moving forward. So once we work out our saving strategy, we're going to make a list. Okay. You're going to make a list of the who, the what, the when, the how, all of that for the holidays. So you want your list of everybody that you are purchasing for, what you are going to be purchasing for them, and that assigned dollar amount, that budget amount, any events that you're going to, any places you are traveling to, um, even your home decor, what you want, set yourself a budget for home decor. I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to deprive themselves during this holiday season. I always set aside a little bit of money for me to go and just really enjoy and not feel guilty about buying Christmas decorations. And then we're going to go through and we're going to assign a budget. Okay. You're going to figure out what's that total amount that you calculated when you were figuring out how much you needed to save. And then we're going to start allocating money. We're going to assign a budget to each person/event. Then we're going to get a little bit deeper here, and we're going to start to research the gifts that we want to purchase for each person. We're going to look for deals. We're going to look for gifts that are within the price range that we assign to that person. And we're going to try to get creative too, right? Because again, I talked about it earlier, gifts don't have to have a high monetary value. You can still give a very thoughtful and heartwarming gift and not spend a lot of money. Okay. And then the last step is that we are going to track our purchases. And I do have a holiday smart savings tracker that I'm going to provide to you. And I'm going to give a little tutorial at the end of this as well on how to utilize this tutorial. I have it in Excel format, and I also have it in a hard copy if you want to, if you're more of like a pen to paper type of person. So I want you to really start thinking about what you are spending this holiday season and start being intentional. And so, what if you calculated how much you spent last year and you really don't feel like you can cut much back from it? What if it's too late for you to cash flow? What if it seems like it's too late for you to cash flow Christmas this year? So, when we go into the holidays, if we believe that the only way to get through it is to utilize debt, that's exactly what's going to happen. Our thoughts and the stories that we tell ourselves matter because oftentimes they dictate what actually happens in our life. So if we have a negative thought, that negative thought has a way of manifesting itself. So when we tell ourselves that we have to utilize debt to make the holidays work, that's what's going to happen. We're just going to end up utilizing debt, and January 1st is going to roll around and we're going to have that pang of guilt and that pang of money stress because now we have debt that we have to pay off. Oftentimes all it takes is just a little bit of planning, strategizing, and being intentional as well as sentimental with our gift giving. So it's time to get creative and remember the true meaning of this season, right? It's not necessarily about the gifts, it's really about just showing the people who are in our lives that we love and care for them. So, first things first, you figured out how much you're going to spend, how many paychecks you have left to fund your Christmas, and then you're going to figure out and start to be strategic and creative about the gifts that you are giving to each individual person that is on your list. So, some ways that you can really decrease your gift budget, because and a lot of these too is you can buy in bulk and create multiple gifts out of these. So, what you want to do is think about making or baking goods, right? I think that's a very common thing. Cookie exchange parties are very common, but really it's something. Baked goods come from the heart, right? They come from the heart, and it's something that just really is an easy way to show somebody that you are thinking about them and that you want them to enjoy something on the holiday season. And so, along with baking goods, is you can also give somebody a jar that is like a make goods, right? So it's a jar that has all of the ingredients and maybe a little tag that has a recipe attached to it. And then you give that as a gift. Maybe your best friend absolutely loves your sugar cookies during the holiday season and wants the recipe. And so you go above and beyond and give them the recipe, but also the ingredients to make a batch of those cookies, right? So there's different ways that you can get creative like that are low cost and an easy way to replicate that gift and really make each gift cost less depending on how many you make. Okay, so along with that is you can do like a homemade recipe card or card file or book, right? Maybe you are the go-to cook in your family and you just have this list of recipes that everybody is always asking you for. So what a cool way is to just make a recipe book that you can give as a gift to somebody. Now this is a great one for if you have kids, but doing like a hand painted or drawn artwork. I've done this with my kids. We've done, Pinterest is a great place to get ideas on what you can do. But we've done the mistletoes painting where you stamp their little feet and make a little painting of mistletoes and just include their name and the date and the year that the toe prints or that the footprints were made. It's the sweetest gift, and I kid you not, like I made one for myself as well, and I hang it up every year because it's just that reminder of how little, our babies were at one point. And so things like that are really heartfelt, and you can do it up where you go to Hobby Lobby and you just get like a blank wooden canvas of some sort and really actually make it look like a piece of art and still do it at a fraction of the cost. So another thing that you can do, set a date. So what do I mean by set a date? We do this with my nana. So because my nana is she's getting up there in age, but she still likes to have fun, okay? But now she's gotten to the point in her life where really she doesn't want the tangible things for Christmas. She just wants to spend time with her kids, her grandkids, and her great grandkids. And so what we do each year is we buy her a calendar, and then we will pre-schedule dinner dates with her and write them in the calendar so she has it and she knows that this year each month we have X number of dinners that are already pre-planned and scheduled so she can expect us to come and visit and have fun and sit and talk and enjoy a meal together with her. So you can also do like a memorable moments keepsake, whether it's an ornament that has a picture, maybe it's a book, maybe it's even one of those, digital picture frames that you can just upload a bunch of different pictures. We've done that before. And it's really just something that you can just show somebody that, hey, these are all the memories that we have together, and I want to commemorate them and show you just how much I think about our time that we've spent together and how much I appreciate our time that we've spent together. So you can do something called just in case letters. So this is really cool for if you have a friend or a family member that lives out of state or long distance, and you can't, you don't get to be in person with them very often. And so you can send them a bulk of just in case letters, so that way they can open a letter for you from you anytime that they are feeling sad, upset, even when they're excited or they've had some kind of achievement, and they want to talk to you but might not be able to reach you, and they can open one of these just in case letters. So you've pre-written these letters so they can open them during specific moments in time during the next year. You can also repot plants or succulents. So if you have a green thumb and you have this beautiful garden, and especially this is easy with succulents because they are so easy to propagate, is just go out and buy some cheap terracotta pots. You can maybe even paint the pots, design them up, and then pre-pot some succulents. I know for me personally, I would love it if somebody gave me a succulent as a gift. Even if I knew that it didn't cost them anything, I know that the work that they put behind it to actually grow that succulent, that takes a lot of work, right? So there's some heart and there's some thought behind it. Um, Another great one. This sounds kind of like juvenile, but my husband and I thought that this was a great idea for us this year because we like to give gifts. We're not very much for like receiving gifts. And so we try to come up with creative ways that our family can, give us something that we actually will utilize. And so we told my sister-in-law that she can just give us a coupon book for for babysitting, right? So like if my husband and I want a date night and we can't find a babysitter, that she'll use the coupon to babysit for us. So things like that are really great, especially as a law enforcement family. How excited would you be if somebody gave you a coupon book that says, "Hey, I'm going to use that anytime that you need me to babysit, you know, give me this coupon and I will set aside time to babysit for you." Like that would just be I think that's the best gift ever. Additionally, you can do an updated family picture. Okay, so this is something that's super easy. I do this a lot, especially for my nana or my parents. Is anytime we get an updated family picture, is I'll just get a nice frame, go to Walgreens, print out an 8x10 of it, and just give this nice family picture because our families like to see these updates and see our family grow, and I think it's just a precious way to commemorate and show your family that you love them. And then, additionally, you can always gift your hobby. If you are somebody who is creative, maybe you have a hobby where you are doing sublimation, or maybe you create wreaths. There's so many. Everybody has this little hobby that they do, and so you can always just gift that hobby, right? It's something that you create yourself, so it comes from the heart. You put thought and effort into it, and so that's a great way to gift your hobby, and also maybe get future customers as well. So if you these are all really like low cost ideas, low cost to no cost ideas of how you can give gifts to people that are on your list. But also when you're out Christmas shopping, it's important to price match, right? Okay, so I just recently, a couple weeks ago, I went Christmas shopping with my mom and my sister, and we just went out to a couple department stores. And I was in one department store, and I was looking for boots for my oldest daughter because she's growing like a weed right now. And I found these really cute boots, and they were kind of on sale, but they were still a little bit more pricey than I would usually spend on boots. So I was like, I like them, but I think I'm just gonna wait and see if maybe they go on sale a little bit later. And then we went to another store, and that store had those same boots for $16 less than what the other store had them. And so when I saw that, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to find a better price than that. So I went ahead and I snagged them. So it's important to make sure that you research. Just because you find something at one store at one price does not mean that that's the best price. Okay, so make sure you do your research and you are price matching to get the most bang for your buck. All right. So let's get into the topic of debt during the holiday season because it's very common for us to utilize debt during the holidays, especially. I think we tend to feel less guilty using debt during the holidays, and then the guilt tends to not come until after, right? Until after January 1 hits, and then we start to really kind of feel it like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have spent that much money. Um, but I believe that debt can be used strategically. However, not everyone is ready to leverage debt. Okay. So if you are currently in credit card debt, now credit card debt specifically, if you're currently in credit card debt, I urge you to approach the holidays with the assumption that you are just not going to add anything else to your credit card debt, because credit card debt is the worst debt that you could absolutely carry around with you because of the high interest rates. The high interest rates on credit cards are what makes it feel like you just cannot get ahead on your debt. So, if you can do anything to not put more onto your credit cards during the holiday season, I really urge you to try and do that this holiday season. So, if you do choose to utilize debt, I want it to be a last resort. That it's only used when you've exercised every other option, and then you have a plan to pay it off immediately. Or also, this is a little caveat, if utilizing the debt is going to give you an additional discount and you have a plan to pay it off immediately. Okay. So, and what do I mean by this? So, this is an example. The same shopping scenario that I was in this past couple weeks ago. And I went to a department store. They were having a really great sale. I think it was like 40% off or whatever. And um, the the clothes that I bought, I went up to the register. She totaled it up, and I wasn't planning on using my because I do have a credit card for the store that we went to. I wasn't planning on using my credit card. I was just going to use my debit card, just pay it in cash. But then she told me, she's like, "Hey, if you use your such and such card today, this is what your total's going to be." And I looked, and it was like $70 less than what my total was. And I was like, say what? Like, okay. And so I went ahead and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take advantage of that because $70, that's a good chunk of change. And especially when you're talking about buying Christmas gifts, right? Because you can do some you can get some good stuff with 70 bucks if you're really looking. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use my credit card, get that $70 discount with the plan that as soon as that payment, as soon as that charge clears the credit card, I go in and I pay it off immediately because I have the funds. I have the funds set aside for the clothes that I was buying. So I need to make sure I get that paid off immediately. So that way I don't incur any interest. Because if I start to incur interest on it, because it's a department store card, and so department store cards have notoriously high interest rates. They're anywhere from like 25 to 29%. Okay. So that $70 is not going to mean anything, right? That $70, I'm going to end up paying that in interest if I don't, get that paid off correctly or get that paid off right away. So that's what I mean. When it comes to debt, I have no issue, and I don't think anybody should feel guilty utilizing debt during the holidays, but I think you should do it intentionally. And I think that if you are somebody who is already carrying around credit card debt, that it might not be the best option for you. And I urge you to try to use some of these other strategies that I've talked to you about today to try to cash flow your holiday season. And then what I want you to do come January 1, because we don't want to try to cram all of our holiday savings into the last 6 weeks of the holiday season, right? Is we want to spread it out across the entire year because we don't feel it as bad. Okay. And so I want you to take that amount that you calculated of what you want to spend during the holidays. Now, going into the next year, you can, pad that a little bit, maybe add about 10% more just to give you a little bit of room there, because you have to factor in inflation and things like that, or additional family members that come in, additional people that you want to buy gifts for. And then I want you to divide that number by the number of paychecks in the entire year. Okay. So you're going to see that it takes, if you have to set aside, $400 each paycheck right now, it's going to take that amount down to maybe 75 or $100 per paycheck. Okay. So you really start to feel it less when you start planning from the beginning of the year. And so that's what I want you to do. Maybe that can be a New Year's resolution for you. Additionally, if you are somebody that is struggling with debt, I do have a Mind Your Debt course that you can take. It's a virtual course. It's online. It has worksheets. It guides you step by step through, figuring out why it is that you got into debt in the first place, understanding your debt triggers, and figuring out your debt payoff plan to help you start to pay down that debt so it doesn't feel like such a burden. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to make sure that I include that link down below in the description of this training, and so that way you can sign up for that debt management course. So, and as always, if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out with me. I am here. I am an open ear. I want to know what money questions that you have, whether it's, holiday related or just in general, savings, how to do emergency funds or creating a budget, things like that. You can always reach me on my email, rebecca@priority1fc.com. I'm on Instagram at Blue Line Money Coach. And then I will leave all of my contact information down below in the description as well. And right now, I'm going to get into the quick tutorial on how to fill out my holiday smart spending tracker. Alrighty, so here is the smart holiday tracker that I created to help me stay intentional and make sure I stay on track with my holiday budget. And so, what the first thing first that you're going to do with this. Now, I have this available in Excel format, which is what you're looking at here. I also have it available in a PDF format, which has basically all of these number areas would be blank for in the PDF format. So that way you can, if you more of a manual tracker, you can use the PDF format. But this Excel document will calculate everything for you, so you don't have to do the math. And so what you're going to do is you're going to start here with your budget goal. Now, this budget goal is the amount of money that you decided that you are comfortable spending for the holiday season. Okay, that's what you decided that you are going to be saving for and setting money aside each paycheck. And it's what we talked about in the S part of the SMART acronym, the save part of the SMART acronym. Okay, so that number goes here. So just for simplicity's sake, I plugged in $1,000. And this is by no means any representation of how much you should or should not be spending on the holidays. This is just for simple math for my brain right now. So then what we're going to do, you see these numbers that are populated right here. This 950, the beginning budget, is actually totaling up how much I have assigned to each of my recipients. So I have kid 1, kid 2, husband, I have decorations, travel, and food. So those are just my 5 or 6 categories that I have assigned money to already in my budget.
And then for each kid, we're doing 200, 200, 100 for my husband, 150 for decorations, 100 for travel, and 200 for food. So all of that totals up to the 950, which is my beginning budget. Now that means that my budget goal is 1,000. My beginning budget is only at 950. It means I have $50 more that I could allocate to something else if I choose, whether I'm adding another gift recipient or not. That's totally up to me. But so far, I'm coming in under budget. And then what I went ahead and did is I started recording my transactions for each kid or each person. So one rule that I have with my children when it comes to gift giving, because I don't want to go overboard, and I very easily can go overboard during Christmas when it comes to my kids, is I can't take credit for this rule. It's not my idea. I heard it somewhere on, maybe it was like on Instagram or something over one of the years. But I go by this rule of four, which is something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And so this doesn't necessarily mean that they only end up with four gifts, especially when it comes to the clothes section. Sometimes that ends up being a few gifts in itself, but that's just kind of my general rule of thumb to make sure that I have a wide range of gifts for my kids and that I'm not just focused on, giving them a bunch of toys that they're going to get bored of after a couple weeks. So once I go and I plug them in, so I plugged in clothes, $30, books, $15, toys, and toys 25. So, and then tickets for my husband, Hobby Lobby, and Target for my decorations. I absolutely love Hobby Lobby, even though I haven't been this year yet. But I just really enjoy you know, adding to my Christmas decorations each year. And then for travel, you definitely want to make sure that you are including a little bit of padding for travel. Even if you are just predominantly stay local, oftentimes we do drive a bit more during the holiday season because we're bouncing from place to place more frequently than we normally would. So make sure you add just a little bit of padding for travel for gas. And then also for food, I always include Thanksgiving in here because we do make additional food for Thanksgiving, and usually for us it ends up being somewhere around $100, give or take, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so once I plugged in all my transactions, you can see it calculates down here the total that I have spent on each person and or category. And then, so that is what is going to populate up here in the spent budget. So you can see our beginning budget is what we've assigned to each person or category, minus what we've actually spent on each person and category. And then that gives us how much money is remaining in our total budget. So $240. So that's just this smart holiday tracker in a nutshell. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't. I believe this has a total of 24 spaces. But of course, you can always do multiple, just depending. But just make sure you're aware of any calculations that need to, if you make a copy of this page, you're aware of how these calculations play in. And if you need any assistance, feel free to reach out to me. I can always help you with duplicating this. So again, this also comes in a PDF format. I'm going to link them both below so you have access to both of them. And hopefully this helps you stay intentional and on track with your holiday budget.